Hello, and welcome back to Let's Play Persona 4. Today we're going to keep going through Yomotsu Hirasaka, or however you want to pronounce that. I don't know, I'm not exactly fluent in Japanese. I kind of wish I was, but I can't even really master my own mother language, English. Getting on topic here. Normally I would recommend going back and fusing things, which is what I'm going to try and do here. But I'm not sure of... Yeah, there's nothing really to make in there. Well, I mean, there is, but nothing that I really want, like, must have. I usually don't fuse anything until there's something that I go, I have to have that. Or at the very least, something where that has a, particular skill that I want. And the skill that I want right now is really Masuku Kaja, which I guess I could level up Yosuke. I think Yosuke gets that, but that's a lot of leveling up, and by the time I level him up, we'd be way too over-leveled. I mean, I think we're already over-leveled, enough as it is, due to leveling up Teddy, but it should still be a very challenging final boss fight, so it's fine. Have we fought that thing before? No, we have not. And it has Hama on. That's not good. At least we know what the weaknesses of those beetles are, I think. Well, I gotta admit, that was a really good thing I had Satan on there, because if I hadn't, I might have had to waste a instant death block. I forget what you call them, though. Homunculus. That's the one. We must strike. Because it always seems like they use the homunculus and then the people start saving you. Like, not him. But it's only after that. I prefer to save those for the mass death spells. Right, I think we fought this group before, but we never found out its weakness, so we're gonna have to show this anyway. Make it easier.
Someone finish it off! That's amazing, Yukiko-senpai. Keep it up. That's amazing, Yukiko-senpai. Keep it up.
Reason being is because as you can see, the mass damage this group can put out is staggering if you let it. So the best thing you can do is find out its weakness, and that's what we're gonna do here, or at least try our damnedest to. Granted, I don't think we find its weakness this fight, but you'll notice in this dungeon I am very, very cautious. There's ample reason for that, because you don't ever really run out of SP if Risei's high enough level. I mean, you get SP back every time battle ends if she's high enough level, so go wild. I mean, unless you are just really, really underleveled, then maybe you might have a problem. But as long as you're not way too underleveled, and if you are way too underleveled, you just get out of here, go back to the previous dungeon, and start training there. I mean, you can usually get out of a bad situation in the final place. You just have to be stubborn enough to find the way to do it. But thankfully, since they allow you to actually sell stuff via inside the dungeon, it's not really a problem, and I forgot this mini-boss was even here. Why not? I'm sure I don't remember this thing being difficult. I don't think I've ever died to this, so... Yes, let's test my willpower. This'll work.
Oh, that's not good. Darkness?
Just say the word and it's bear time!
best start to a boss fight ever. Seriously. I mean, I probably could have done more damage by not doing that all-out attack, but I kind of just wanted to see how much damage the all-out attack would do. I mean, just to be honest. Probably not efficient, but it was sure fun. But as you saw, that thing does a lot of physical damage, so I'm just trying to cover all bases here. And now this fight is also a reason you'll see why I use Chie for the final dungeon. Well, let's just say she hits like a Mack truck. I believe she does. Of course, you have to make sure that the enemy's not going to reverse it back onto her, but that's an easy thing to do just by scanning the thing. But I mean, for this thing, really all you need for the main character is just somebody that can nullify physical damage, and you basically won the fight. I don't think it actually has any magical attacks, so you're pretty much covered if you got that covered. That was redundant, I know. Which is why I love Thor. I don't think Thor normally starts with Reflect, but actually, does Thor start with Physical Reflect? I don't really remember. And the dynamite is about to blow up, folks. Say goodbye. Of course, it's all for naught if she misses, which is why I like to have Masuku Kaja, but I don't have Yosuke, so I don't. Why does that always miss? Is the hit chance, inversely proportionate to the amount of SP you spend? I know it's not really, but it sure seems like it in video games sometimes. It's a conspiracy, man. The more you spend, the more likely it is to miss.
I've climbed the stairway to maturity.
I don't really know when the final boss becomes acceptable to fight. I'm guessing you're supposed to, generally speaking, have all your skills for any given character, but I don't know if it's like a couple levels above that, 75. I believe one time I fought the final boss and I was like level 64. That was a hell of a fight, I might add. It took me like 6 attempts to do that fight. And the one time I actually did beat the thing at level 64, it was sheer dumbass luck that I lived through it. Because I was about to die, and my armlet procced, and I dodged a magic attack. Not what I recommend doing. It didn't help that I had Naoto in the party at that time. Naoto's like the worst for that fight ever. Teddy's actually quite a bit better. Ah, the power of reflection. I love reflection. Of course, reflection doesn't do much as far as damaging them, but still. Every little bit helps.
Are you ready?
I don't think I ever did find out what the weaknesses of those tree things are. But you can really just nuke them down with mass AoE if you got to this point in the game. With whatever characters you use, whether that be Mabufudine, Mazayadine, Magarudine, I'm guessing, unless they're immune to some of those. I didn't really check, but they're not really dangerous as long as you have you know, again, a physical reflecting character. The dangerous things are those things that use Hama on. But thankfully, since we now know their weakness is fire, they're not going to be much of a problem unless they ambush you. And getting ambushed in here, as I said last time, that's a death sentence. Because things in here are downright vicious, and the last thing you want to do is waste all that time and effort you spent getting to wherever you were. Maybe I'm a too conservative, old-fashioned video gamer, but I'm very cautious in the final dungeon. A lot of people aren't really. I try to be. Probably more than is needed. I don't really see a point going that way right now. And apparently I forgot one thing of editing. Normally I would edit this out, but oh well. This just goes to show the importance of actually trying to get your ideal fight. So sue me, I messed up one thing of editing. I could do it right now, but well, let's just face it, I'm tired. Anyway, let's see here. I don't really need her or it. I think it looked like a her to me. It doesn't really matter, but I don't really need it because I couldn't really fuse anything really good that I had, so I'm just going to replace it. Try and get good fusing before the final boss. That sounds wrong on so many levels. I'm fusing with Persona. What? Oh lord, these things. If you are unaware and you underestimate these things, they will wreck you. These things hit hard. They usually give one turn of advance notice by mind charging, but if you let them have their turn and you don't have the proper immunities, bye-bye. Just bye-bye. Now since they use Maragadine and I think what was the other one? Maziadine? Yeah, it's good to have something like that. If all else fails and you cannot kill them beforehand, guard for the love of God. It's really in your best interest to try and find their weakness, though. Thankfully, their weakness is not hard to have, so there's that. As you see, ice. I think it's also wind as well. I should hope for mercy's sake you have at least one of those two spells at this point in the game.
I can't defeat it.
If you don't, you have a lot bigger problems than that. Like, I've never heard of anybody getting this far in the game and not having one of those two spells. Never once. It's almost impossible. It's not quite impossible.
Is this our chance? Let's do it.
But almost.
This is it.
For that to happen, you would have to not use Yosuke. You would have had to not use Chie or Teddy. So you'd be having to use Kanji and Naoto and Yukiko. And not have any of the Persona that would have Garadine or Bufordine. That is very unlikely, and if you do, just trust me, get it. You'll thank me later. Actually, there is no later. You'll thank me now, because there is no later in this part of the game. Because the final boss, I don't think is weak to a darn thing, and for good reason, because it'd be boring if it was. However, if you have party members that do have weaknesses, you better watch out, because the final boss will use it against you. Trust me on that one. I can't count the number of times Yukiko has been knocked on her butt in that fight, and it's rather annoying. Of course, everybody in my party now has an elemental weakness. Before, at least had Naoto as a reprieve. Me and Naoto didn't have a weakness, but now everybody besides me has a weakness in the party. Oh wait, no. Does Chie have a weakness, or did she get rid of it? I think Chie got rid of her fire weakness, didn't she? I don't remember. It seems like something you should probably try and remember. I never do, but... yeah, we're not going back that way because there's nothing over there. My goal is to get to floor 5. Try and get through at least 2 floors a day. 2 floors a week. I know it's slow, but... these are the episodes that take the longest time for me to edit. So, I'm sorry for that. Quality or quantity, man?
That one's totally weak.
Oh yeah, this is a group that you will get used to fighting a lot. But fortunately, it's very easy. All you have to do is one thing and it's done.
3 enemies down.
It's time to get wild. Alrighty. Take that.
Like I said, easy to deal with, not really difficult, as long as you again have something with wind. I don't care if you don't have Magarudyne, as long as you have Magaru, or just Garu, I really don't care, as long as you knock something down. Just enough to knock down the mages. I don't know what the pot thing does, but... Besides make you feel good, but I don't know what the pot enemy does, but... I can't imagine. Well, they showed her moves earlier, I just didn't really pay a darn bit of attention, my bad. Ah yes, development. Going as to why she chose who she chose to give her gifts to. I'm hoping that we were the hope in that. It would make sense, and it would be fitting considering I just said that. Because Barok here does not really fit Despair, or the other one, but I can't remember what the other one... I remember Despair was one of them. Like, I should be able to remember something that just came up less than 15 seconds ago, but I don't. Oh, it's scary how bad my memory is. It is just scary. Alright, might as well go for this.
I leveled up.
Let's just say, if I skip stuff like that, in all likelihood, it's the group with the 2 mages and the pot lady. That's her new nickname, the pot lady. It's the woman from Weeds, alright? If you ever watched that show, it's an awful, well, not awful show, it's just very cliched, but it's her. We'll just... That's what we're going with. I like the show, don't get me wrong.
Congrats, Senpai.
Yeah, I think I'm way too high level at this point in the game. Like, I think the highest level I've ever been going into the final boss is like 80. And I'm only on floor 4 out of, I think, 9 according to Gaming Reaper.
It's level up time.
So I'm gonna guess I'm gonna get a couple more levels, so this is gonna be my highest level run ever. It's not going to be near as difficult as it normally would be, but that's just fine because normally I die once or twice. And in a fight that long, in a fight that long while you're recording, if you die, well, let's just say it can get you rather annoyed. Having to redo an hour's fight. And it's gonna be an hour fight. That's a very long fight. This is a Shin Megami game, man. Get used to the long haul fights.
Don't give up now, okay?
It's a JRPG after all.
Enemy defeated.
Keep
Off to a
going.
good start.
I know some people say Persona aren't Shin Megami. They are Shin Megami, they're just easier. Alright?
To a good start.
Doesn't make it any worse, it just makes it's just easier than Digital Devil Saga or Nocturne or anything like that. I really want to do those as Let's Plays someday. Oh, I get my butt kicked in them though. But eventually I always win. That's the kind of games I'm used to growing up, where you die a lot, but eventually with enough persistence and enough strategy, you eventually come out ahead. Okay, what should I get rid of? I don't really need... Well... I hate to get rid of stuff that I just got. I'm not getting rid of anything up there. Guess I'll get rid of... I'm not trying to pronounce that. Yeah, because that thing didn't fuse anything good either, so... Don't need it. Well, you don't need it, but knowing my luck, if you fuse that with one like Belial, I'll get something great. Like, I'd never really used Scott Hawk, or Scott Hawk, I don't know how you pronounce that. But, ooh, Omega Drive. What does Omega Drive do? I've been kind of just ignoring stuff like that. I think Sigma Drive, lowers your chance to be critically hit, so Omega, oh my lord. I've never gotten an Omega Drive. I rarely ever have enough keys in the final dungeon to get stuff like this. Putting that on Chie would be phenomenal, but she already has the Amaterasu fob, which again, I never saw before either, so Oh man, critical hit or health? Well, I guess it just depends if you're offense or defense. For grinding, probably the critical hit would be better. But for everyday, like the final boss, I think I'm gonna go with the 30% more health. Just because the final boss hits so hard. I mean, it's not even right how hard it hits. And for GA to have enough health to actually, I don't know, use her physical attacks, which is the whole reason I'm bringing her. That's the, the good reason I'm doing it. Or the whole reason I'm doing it. I think it's a good reason. Whether it is or not, it's up to you to judge, I guess. I mean, using a land badge or a regenerative thing, I never really got into that. I always thought having more maximum health was better for a physical attacker, especially late in the game. Early game, maybe not, but late in the game, you really want the maximum for the shoot because you have Meteor on.
Now, Suzuka Gongen! 4 enemies down.
Here's our chance. It's up to you, Chief.
No.
Persona!
You struck its weak spot, Chie-senpai.
No, those things are dangerous. I don't want them getting up anytime soon.
You need to thin them out.
And by the time they do get up, I don't want us to be getting killed by them.
Persona!
It may be overkill, but I'm not going to die.
Good going, Teddy.
Just keep hammering on the weakness. We have more than enough SP at this point. Okay, so physical attacks, not a good thing to do.
Take this.
Even though I think that was actually a percent chance.
Got back up. Defeat it.
4% chances are not...
Got back up. Defeat it.
I mean, likely one of them's gonna proc at that point.
Got back up. Defeat it.
Plus, if Chie can knock it on its ass anyway, why not just use that, am I right?
To ice.
Then again, I was never really a gambling man. No, this game series broke me being a gambling man with RNG. It always bites you.
Here goes! Come on!
Because relying on the random number generator in this series, more often than not, will get you killed. Maybe that's just because Digital Devil Saga broke me on so many emotional levels of, oh, this boss has instant death attack on everybody. Oh, by the way, you need a skill that will lessen the chance of you dying. It's not proofing it, but it'll lower the chance of you instantly dying, and you cast it and you still die anyway. So I don't trust random number generator in these games. That's just me. What in the hell is that? Okay, that doesn't move when I'm in a pause screen. I was like, does time still go forward? I never really noticed. Yeah, well, that's just no. No, think we're fine. I still wonder how in the hell I've had such good luck with chest keys in this run. Like I said many times in this entire series, I didn't really do anything special to get the keys. I just do what I always do. It's just blind luck I've gotten this many chest keys. Let's see. Cannot believe you're this Right, well, I can't believe you've gotten this far. Yes, well, I want the truth. So this is basically the equivalent of you can't handle the truth. Okay, I shouldn't oversimplify it to that degree, but... I don't know, man. Just being used like this just leaves a bad taste in my mouth that I'm stubborn. I'm gonna find out what's happened, really. That's the basic gist of it here. There's no good reason to be doing this. I guess the reasoning is, well, if she's behind all of this, then, for all we know, later on down the line, the fog will come back and someone won't be able to stop it, I guess. If we're going to try and be all logical about this whole plot, synopsis.
That one? It's a no-brainer.
From a practical standpoint, there's no reason to be here. We stopped the fog, but on to the battle at hand, because reminiscing about the plot in the middle of battle is a bad thing to do. Well, if they use fire, then... Odin would work just as well, and I could actually try wind.
Persona!
Well done.
He says wind as he casts Maziodine. I was gonna say, yeah, that was a mistake.
Persona.
Not in retrospect. Or hindsight. Retrospect. Not in hindsight, but when I actually said it, yes.
Persona. Amazing, Yukiko-senpai. So far.
I don't know why I hate those enemies that ride the wooden horses, or whatever, ivory horses, whatever they are.
Persona.
It's tough.
That's amazing, Yukiko-senpai. Keep
Like
it
the
up.
vague enemy type, it's always the most annoying enemy on the battlefield, every single
That's a
time.
no-brainer.
When it really should not be, judging by its
Don't lose your
looks.
guard now.
Then again, I guess that's why they call it Don't Judge a Book by its cover. But now that I know its weakness, hopefully that won't be a problem anymore. Look, I really just want yeah, that. That's actually exactly what I wanted, the snake. So, what am I gonna get rid of to get this? Your Lunga. Well, do I really need Hachiman does have Mahama-on, which will not be useful for the fight, the final boss fight, but yeah, that thing, the chariot, we're not keeping. Is that the final form of the chariot arcana? I don't remember. I never fuse it. I don't know. Well, either way, as you see, it's not really noticeable, but over the course of a very long dungeon run, I've only really lost SP on my main character just because I'm using Magaru-dyne every time I skip the battle, basically, so I basically have infinite SP. Because you actually gain SP if you only cast one spell. So as long as you know things' weaknesses, you can basically just gain SP. If you are that level with Rise. I don't remember what level she got that at, but at this point in the game, you should be able to get to that level. If you don't have Restoring Wind or Refreshing Wind, you're gonna have a problem in here. You're gonna have to just try and grind your way to that level, and then pray you have enough money to get there. If not, well, you might have to go all the way back to... I don't know, man. I don't know what you do if you don't have enough money to grind your way to get to that level. Thankfully, to get to that horrible situation, you would have had to, like, skip so many fights and just run through the game, which is not advisable. You know, running through anything in a JRPG is generally not a good idea. It's a genre that rewards patience and persistence. That's why we like it. It's a game that rewards intelligent thought. I mean, I enjoy pointless violence as much as the next guy, don't get me wrong. Any number of, playlists on my channel will confirm that, but... Oh, that's 10 magic or 50 SP. I think magic would probably be better if you use her as a mage. But since I'm using her as a healer, I'd rather have the one healing spell, or 1.5 healing spells, than I would just doing more damage. That'd be a lot more damage, though. I mean, if I ever use Yukiko as a mage during the final fight, that would be a good boost in damage. But damage isn't really my problem in the final fight. The problem is just living long enough. And with 2 Somas, that's an extra 100 SP right there, so... you gotta take everything into account math-wise. And let me just say, some people probably go, Bach, I've seen you survive through so much crap with, like, no SP. Yeah, well, we're gonna be using both those Somas, and I'm probably still gonna be scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Just because of my strategy is so inefficient and stupid, I'm gonna need them both. That seems like every boss fight I do things the dumbest way possible, but I still get through it looking like I almost know what I'm doing. But that's just the way I do things, man. And while we're here, let's get some more healing. Since it costs peanuts, might as well. And we're back to full, yes. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. Next time, we're going to try and get to floor 7 at the least, maybe even 8. Thank you guys very much for watching. As usual, if you'd like to support the channel, you may wish to like or even subscribe for easier access to future videos. Farewell, everyone.